No?
Yeah. Can we reread it?
Where did we start from? Maybe I'll do it quick. So the camera was off, so we'll just do it quickly.
From where? From where?
That's a good question.
Can we go back? Should we go see where?
No, I think it has to do with... okay,
This
so
is
Rabbi
very
Nachman,
interesting. This is
yeah.
very
Rabbi Nachman
interesting.
says that the way to come through inspiration and warmth for Hashem is through motion. What does that mean, motion? I got to run around the block? What does that mean? This is because motion gives rise to warmth, which is normal. As we see empirically, if one shoots an arrow which has wax affixed to its head, the wax then melts because of the warmth that results from the motion. It's called friction, right? Another word for friction?
Not really.
No?
Not really.
Okay, some
Sort of,
scientists
sort
here.
of.
Likewise, when a person walks to and fro, he creates warmth in his heart. This is called motion. What is that called?
What?
When he walks, they say in the winter when you're walking and it's freezing out, if you're walking, you're going to get warm.
Yeah.
Right?
Energy, I don't know. Fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay.
This is good.
And Rabbi Nachman says something that's mind-blowing,
This is very...
which blew my mind when I read this, because I was always a thinker, and I always was in public school, and I was always the Jew, and I had always friends that were not Jewish. There's nothing wrong with that, but there were some people that were very dangerous in those schools, and very harsh, and very rough, and very unrefined, and they would always hurt the sweeter people there, and the person would suffer his whole life in school. So when I started reading Rabbi Nachman, my health came back. Like, wow, I was always thinking that. Now, I'm going to say something that's very rare, and I'm only saying it because I went through it. It's my own opinion. The reason why Rabbi Nachman is so popular in the world, and the reason why so many people are running to Rabbi Nachman, in my opinion, is because when you read Rabbi Nachman says, it's my opinion, I heard this from one other person, but my opinion that Rabbi Nachman says, I'm crazier than you. I know much more than you, I've been through everything, and I can overcome any illness that you ever had in your brain with your craziest thoughts that you ever had. I can meet you and beat you by millions and millions of years, meaning that I'm going to tell you stuff that's going to make you so happy with these ideas that you thought you were crazy, but you were never crazy. You were always well. You were always understanding the way it was really. But the world and things happen in your life made you not believe yourself. Rabbi Nachman gets you to believe in yourself again, because he says things that are so wacky. It's so beautiful. That's how I see it.
Okay.
Rabbi Nachman says the essence of motion is from the power of thought. What? What's going on? So, for at first, the power of thought is at rest and still. After that, the power of thought begins to move from one thought to the next. That is, at first, when he sat in his place, his thought was to sit. But after that, when he wants to go, his thought begins to move from the first thought to the thinking about going. As a result, he draws down warmth. This is why when a person sleeps, he has to cover himself, because when the power of thought is at rest and still, he has no warmth. Pretty interesting. The same holds true for spiritual matters. When the power of thought thinks about the greatness of Hashem and His holy Torah and moves from one thought to the next, through the motion he draws down warmth and his heart is aflame for God. So if you're thinking of my nephew, I have a nephew, I think about him, I get really happy, and I start to think of what can I do for him when I see him, when am I going to see him, I buy him little toys, I think of him, what am I going to tell him. Same thing in relation to everything else. You love someone, you think about them, you see them, you're happy, you tell them. Same thing with Hashem, you're connecting, you're thinking good stuff. And that brings you warmth, not just physical warmth, it brings you emotional warmth, right? So, similarly, the primary warmth of the element of fire, okay, here's a new concept. The primary warmth of the element of fire is that which it receives from the motion of the stars. Stop. New concept. The element of fire receives its property from the moving of the stars, or the zodiac. Have you heard that before? Never heard that before, right? Interesting, right? Cool. I mean hot. Okay.
Not from the stars, from the motion of the stars.
From the motion of the stars, okay. This is because the element of fire is above the element of air and close to the celestial spheres. Okay, 13. This is very interesting stuff. The Rambam, Rabbi Nachman is going to bring the Rambam. Rambam you can never beat. The Rambam lists the order of the celestial bands and the particular spheres they contain. He explains that even closer to proximity to the earth than the moon and the lunar band through which it passes, which is the orbit, God created a mass. Unlike the mass of the stars and planets in which he fashioned 4 elements, fire, air, water, earth, fire is the lightest and therefore the highest, is closest to the celestial spheres. It's not the same fire as we know. The element of fire is the archetype of all fire and can be related to the concepts of heat and warmth. The particular point of the Rambam to which our lesson relates is that fire heat receives its quality of warmth from the movement of the band immediately above the lunar band. Okay. I just want to go to the next page, and I actually went to the footnote. Just turn the page, and you're going to see the Rambam.
Is that this extra page?
Yeah, with the smaller writing.
Yeah.
Okay, how much time do we have?
7 minutes.
Okay. So, I went to the Rambam, Hebrew, English, and I printed exactly what the Rambam says about this. It was very interesting because the Rambam was a long time ago, and I don't know how he knows this stuff, but through Kabbalah, people say the Rambam was not a Kabbalist and stuff like that, but obviously he knows everything that's going on. So if you read the Rambam, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Number 10?
Now I want to start with 9 because it's pretty interesting stuff. We'll just go a little off a little bit to make the class longer. No, to give some cute information here. Every star and sphere has a soul and is endowed with knowledge and intelligence. So right away, the Rambam saying that Saturn and Jupiter and Mars has a soul and has knowledge and intelligence. That's nice. They are living beings which apprehend He who spoke and the world was. They praise and glorify Hashem, just as angels do, each according to its greatness and degree. I heard from Rabbi Rosenfeld, whenever you see a shooting star, it's because God is calling it.
Okay.
Interesting. Now watch this. This gets pretty interesting. As they apprehend God, so they are conscious of themselves and the angels above them. The knowledge possessed by the stars and spheres of the planets is less than the angels, but more than human beings. Rambam is saying that the moon, the stars, and the sun are more intelligent than human beings. It's a Rambam. This is not the Kabbalist. This is not some person you hear about every once in a while. This is the Rambam.
It's saying the knowledge, and it sounds like the meaning, the praise and the glory they give to the Creator.
Okay, whatever he's saying, he's saying.
That's what it sounds like he's saying.
Okay,
Is
so
it?
it's
That's
very
what- is that what
interesting.
he's
The
saying,
knowledge
maybe?
possessed by the stars and the planets
Yeah.
is less than the angels, but more than human beings. It's a Rambam. Not Rabbi Nachman, it's not Breslov, it's not Lubavitch.
So then
It's
the
a
knowledge
Rambam.
possessed by the angels is more than human beings as well.
Yeah, to a certain level.
Well, if the stars and the spheres are greater than the human beings, and the angels, it's less than the angels, then the angels are greater than the human
Okay.
beings as well.
Okay, whatever that
No?
means. It's saying,
Right?
it's saying record, right? It's blinking?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, now watch this. This gets very interesting. This is the Rambam. Below the sphere of the moon, God created matter unlike that of the planets, or spheres. And for this matter, he created 4 forms which are unlike the form of the spheres. Each of these forms was set in a different portion of this matter. The first of these forms, that of fire, was combined with a part of the sublunary matter, and the result was the actual body of fire. The second form, that of air, was united with another portion, and the result was the actual body of air. The third form, that of water, was joined to another portion, and the result was the actual body of water. The fourth form, that of earth, was combined with another portion, and the result was the actual body of earth. Thus, beneath the firmament, there are four distinct bodies, one above the other. The higher, completely surrounding those below it on all sides, like a planet. The first, nearest the sphere of the moon, is the body of fire. Beneath it is air, below that is water, and then below that is earth. Between these bodies there is no vacuum. Did you ever hear anything like that? Never, right? This is not like a Copernicus. This is very interesting. This is Rambam. So I heard something so really interesting, being in Lubavitch so many years. They say why fire is always going up, because it wants to return to its source. Fire is always rising. Water is always going down. That's where its source is. It's interesting. Okay, let's go back a page. Just wanted to give that. Okay. So who wants to take the next paragraph? Or should I keep going? Therefore, okay, Rabbi Nachman is going back to the lesson. So Rabbi Nachman is now going back to the lesson, okay? Therefore,
by turning the many to righteousness,
meaning making people observant, making people happy, helping people out,
i.e., bringing people closer to the service of God, or by judging all men favorably,
okay, see that?
which is also called turning the many to righteousness.
Meaning he thinks good about people.
Through this, he also draws down warmth and inspiration for God. As is written in Daniel, those who turn the many to righteousness like the stars.
Rabbi Nachman brought now another proof that you're channeling down warm energy when you think good of people, when you do good to people. And the previous Lubavitcher Rabbi says that every person is responsible to create an environment.
Is what?
Is responsible to create a healthy, warm environment around them. So he becomes a source of good, and he can do good things to other people. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Who wants to take this?
Yeah.
You want me to go?
No.
You want to do it?
He receives the warmth from that which is above him.
Okay, so
And
give 1
can
second. Okay.
and can also draw down warmth to another.
Okay, so Nachman is saying here